Can you claim your spouse on your German tax return? Yeah, today we're going to dive into these questions, and we're going to talk about all the questions we have about spouses and married couples. So welcome back here on another video on G-Tax. My name is Roland Elias. I'm a German tax advisor specialized in international tax, and today I'm going to answer your question: can you claim your spouse on your German tax return? So let's just dive into it. So a very big mistake is, what is your real legal status? Is it your spouse, your girlfriend, or is it your married partner? This is a big difference, because the legal marriage has to be done in front of some kind of official. For example, in your city, at the official city council. Then, is it a recognized foreign marriage? That's also very important. That's the next thing. Then your residency requirements, EU versus non-EU, and tax residency relevance. These are all the things we will jump into. And yeah, if you're legally married in Germany or somewhere abroad, and the marriage is known to the German government and the German Finanzamt, then you have no problem. Because then you have the chance to do a combined assessment in your taxes. Or you can do a separate assessment. Depends on which status you are. For example, low income, high income earner. That depends on the different situation. Then you have an annual choice. Every year you can say, okay, this year we're going to do it together. Next year we're going to do it separate. It depends on the better situation. Then it has no legal consequences, only in the tax system. But the big problem is also you're doing a liability sharing. So when is it profitable for you? For example, income splitting benefit, very good for you. Allowance effects, tax burden reductions. Typical scenarios are, for example, where you say, okay, one has a low income, one has a high income, one is working, one is not working, one is on parental leave, one is not. And these are very good scenarios where you can say, okay, there you can, for example, deduct or reduce your taxes by all the deductions. Then, when your spouse is not living with you, then it might be sometimes a little bit of a problem, because in the EU it's often no problem. But if you're in Germany and your spouse, your married partner, is abroad in some non-EU country, then it might be a little bit tricky. So, because of the so-called income declaration and the so-called double income treaty here, considerations that have to be done. Then it might be very complex. But normally it's also working. But one is it good? It's, for example, here, if you have one with a high income, one with a low income, one with, for example, no income, one with a high income, or for example, if someone has losses in his business and the other one is a good earner. So the typical errors in this case are, for example, thinking it's automatically. No, it's not. You have to tell your employer if you're employed, or you have to do it with the German government in your tax filings. Then missing income disclosure. That means if some of your income or from the income abroad is not correctly implemented in your tax filing, there might be problems. Wrong filing method, separated or together, might be a problem. Or, for example, the biggest mistake is ignoring foreign income. Yes, most of you, for example, have a bank for example, you came from South Africa, or you came from the USA, or you come from China, and have there a bank account. Then you move to Germany. You have to declare all your income on this bank account. For example, capital gains, dividends, interest, or something like this you get. You have to declare it in Germany also, because it's with your so-called world income tax system in Germany. You're a German tax resident, so you have to pay taxes on all of it in Germany. So you have another question, then just go down under this video and just, for example, book a meeting with me, or just comment in the video section below, in the comment section, and then you just hit a follow button, and then welcome back to G-Tax in the next video.